All right, thank you all so much for being here. So we'll go ahead and get started with today's presentation. Welcome and thank you for being here. So today we'll be discussing an upcoming research contract on commercial cooking activity. This meeting is being recorded, and towards the end of the presentation, we will share information on how to access the recording. So thanks again for joining us. Jenna, can you add the slides to the chat? So those slides will be a PDF, and that'll be something that you can access and follow along. All right, so today's agenda, we'll start with a brief background, then walk through the project overview and the competitive bidding process. After that, we'll open it up for questions and feedback. This is an opportunity to ask questions and provide feedback. The project is still being refined, so your input at this point is really important and appreciated. So why cooking emissions matter? Commercial cooking is a significant source of air pollution, and this can be especially important in densely populated areas where emissions can contribute to community exposure. Understanding these emissions clearly is crucial for both regional air quality and public health. Cooking activity is an important part of estimating emissions. Cooking activity focuses on cooked items like charbroiled meats that have emissions. Characterizing what type of meat, how much of it is cooked, and on what cooking device are all factors in how CARB estimates emissions from commercial cooking. This project will gather data that help refine future estimates of emissions of criteria pollutants across the state. It builds on prior work, including work by Potapan in 2001. It is important that the emissions inventory reflect real-world conditions, which supports effective policies. This project will develop updated statewide estimates of commercial cooking activity in California. It will look at variation across equipment types, food types, and restaurant characteristics such as cuisine type and sales. Where feasible, it will also consider variation over time, such as seasonality and time of day. These data will be integrated with external data sets to produce transparent, defensible estimates suitable for emissions modeling. So an overview of the scope. This is a 36-month contract with a total budget of $600,000. There are 5 primary tasks, which I'll walk through next. They are a review of existing literature, a survey and data analysis plan development, survey implementation, data integration and modeling, and reporting. While the tasks are numbered, it will be important to develop portions of tasks simultaneously, such as identifying the modeling framework to inform the survey. Task 1. The contractor will compile and review existing data sources, including prior studies and data sets from air districts and other sources. They will evaluate existing studies, methods, and assumptions, and assess strengths, limitations, and consistency. The goal is to identify key gaps and opportunities. The deliverable for this task is a literature review summarizing the findings. Task 2. The contractor will develop the survey design and sampling approach. They will also develop the survey instrument and create an outreach strategy, including considerations for multilingual engagement. In addition, they will define the analytical methods and data management plan. Deliverables include the survey instrument, sampling plan, outreach strategy, and the analysis plan. Task 3. The contractor will begin with a pilot test to identify and address implementation challenges. They will then conduct a full survey, manage responses, and perform quality assurance checks. Documentation will be important to ensure consistency and reproducibility. Deliverables include the final data set, ongoing data and code sharing, and a summary of the data collection process. Task 4. Survey data will be used to inform a statewide model of cooking activity. The model will rely on covariates that are observable across most restaurants. Some simplifying assumptions will be required and should be clearly articulated. For example, assuming there are no systematic differences by region once other available information is accounted for, such as cuisine type and sales activity. Continuing with task 4, the contractor will identify large-scale data sets to support the model, such as Data Axle, Dun & Bradstreet, and others. Other potential data sources include online platforms like Google or Yelp, aggregated location data, and government data such as licensing or health permits. The deliverable for this task is a modeling framework that clearly documents data sources, assumptions, and methods. Early drafts of these deliverables will inform the survey design. Task 5. The contractor will provide regular updates and coordinate with CARB and stakeholders. A draft final report is due 6 months before the end of the contract. The final report and a public seminar are due at project completion. Key expectations. We are looking for strong survey design and execution, along with clear and transparent statistical methods. Reproducibility and documentation are critical. We recognize there will be challenges, and we want approaches that are practical and clearly communicated. The final data and models should support emissions inventory applications and align with CARB's broader efforts. Coordination with CARB staff and partners will be important throughout the project. The competitive bidding process. The solicitation is open to UC and CSU researchers as principal investigators. Subcontractors may come from other organizations as well. The solicitation will be released May 12th. We will announce the solicitation via the Research Activities listserv. At that time, we will share a project page that includes a recording of this workshop and answers common questions. You can submit questions through the research@ARB email. Pre-proposals are due June 26th, and award notifications are expected by July 27th. CARB has a research screening committee, which provides scientific peer review for research contracts. The committee will review the project in November, and the contract is expected to begin around April 27th. That concludes the overview. Thank you again for joining us, and we'd like to open it up for questions and feedback. If you have any questions or feedback, you can raise your hand or just unmute yourself and start talking. So please feel welcome to join in. Yes, Patrick.
Hi, Colin. Thank you for the invite and the breakdown here. I was wondering what the PI requirements were, professor level, associate professor, and also if you were encouraging community engagement with the proposal. Thank you.
Yeah, Sarah and Toshi, you're welcome to join in here. So yeah, assistant professor, yeah, all the way through professor, those are all welcome. So the criterion is that you need to be a CSU or UC connection, but subcontractors can come from other areas or other organizations. Yeah, love to have community engagement. What that looks like here could be a lot of different things, but we'd love to have input from a variety of sources, especially early on. Sarah, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, community engagement isn't necessarily like a task within the project, but CARB is also working to communicate that we're doing the project to communities. A lot of AB 617 communities are really interested in cooking emissions since it's a significant source of pollution, and also a lot of the community emission reduction plans or SERPs include strategies to reduce emissions from cooking activities. So, we at CARB are really interested in disseminating information about the project, and especially at the end. And we'd love, help from the principal investigator, but there are no tasks in the project to do community engagement explicitly. I don't know if we have any follow-up questions, otherwise we can move on. All right. Do you want to move on to the next hand, Colin?
Yeah, I think Alec had their hand up first.
Hi, all. Thank you so much. Really interesting project. I had a couple of different questions, so if we want to do more round robin and toss it around after I ask one too, that's totally fine. But I guess two kind of different areas of interest that me and my group at UC Merced were um, talking about. So the number one, when we were talking about getting specific community involved in things like that, we were speaking and thinking a lot about um, restaurants and accessibility with regards to language. And I think one of the challenges of restaurants in California, I mean, benefit is the food's spectacular and we have tons and tons of variability. But I think that comes with the added linguistic burden of I would expect these surveys to be in a number of different languages. And so I think one of the worries that we had when we were thinking about this contract was how, like, did you guys have an idea of any specific regions we wanted to target? Are there worries about we're going to need to field this in 5 languages or 10 languages, right? Like, and I think different parts of California are going to need pretty different translation services. If we're thinking Southern California, we might think that we need more translation in Vietnamese and Mandarin and English and Spanish, whereas the Central Valley, we might need things in a different set of languages. So just if you guys had any insight into what kind of translation you were thinking, or if there were specific guidances, etc.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we expect that to be determined by the contractor. So I think there are 160 languages spoken across California. So there's a ton of diversity. So what we have, what will be prepared, there could be some trade-off there in terms of cost. So we certainly want to make the survey as accessible across the board to folks as possible. But yeah, that'll be something that we work out in coordination and could be developed during the project. So if there's outreach and we find that there's a language barrier that needs to be addressed, and that could be done at that time, and seeing what options are available and what works well for the community. So yeah, certainly the multilingual aspect, definitely something that's on our radar that we can't entirely prepare for in advance, but we'll continue to monitor as the outreach is conducted.
Got it. Thank you. And then would you mind if I ask kind of a follow-up to that?
Sure, yeah.
So then for overall scope of work, my understanding was that it was really to answer questions about the state as a whole and not specific regions of California, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I know that there are pre-existing like repositories of specific restaurants and things like that. Had CARB identified any of that, or would that be it'd be expected and part of the budget to gain access to these sampling frames of like where, addresses of restaurants and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we have some familiarity with that, with what's out there, but certainly not total familiarity. So, taking into account considerations like how up to date or accurate we think information is, the cost of the information, and how it can be updated over time. So those would all go into it. So part of that initial literature review would be looking at what's out there and what we think would work. So we're certainly open to a lot of different methods, a lot of different data sets, and trying to work with the contractor to figure out what is the right fit for this project. It is a limited budget. $600,000 is a lot of money, but it goes very quickly. So we do want to be conscious of that, and also, of course, quality and ability to update. So we're open to a lot. And if you have good sources that you think would be useful for the project, great. Please you're welcome to include those or share them with us.
Gotcha. Thank you. That was very, very helpful.
Oh, great. All right. Now we'll move on to Mark.
Hi. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but is there you guys thinking also including food trucks and street vendors in the survey or no?
Yeah, definitely. So that's a really good point. So, especially going back to 2001 and looking at what's happened between then and now, we know that there are different types of food being produced, different types of businesses producing that food, food trucks being a big highlight there. We may also, consider like cafeterias and, food orders to go, delivery. So there's a lot going in there. So what we'd like to do is figure out how we can best capture the state of California. Again, limited budget. That may mean that there's not budget for it, or the estimates are going to be highly imprecise, or with limited differentiation across like cuisine types of food trucks. So we'd like to include food trucks. We'd like to include other food cooking devices, all of those things. That would be part of that initial literature review of saying what's out there, what's been done, how much we think would be missing, or how we think we could best capture those different potential emission sources and activity sources. So would love to cover food trucks, could be limited by budget, could be entirely limited such that they can't be captured, but ideally having at least a preliminary estimate that gives us some estimation of how there might be a differential between, say, a food truck of a particular type and the corresponding restaurant with otherwise similar covariates, but just that differential of food truck versus established restaurant. So very much on the radar. I appreciate you bringing it up. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great. Renji?
Hi, Renji Chen, Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. I see that you are interested in getting activity data because of the emission estimates and also air quality planning. For air quality planning, is it purely ambient outdoor air quality, or are you also concerned about indoor air quality as well?
Sarah, would that be AQPSD might know more about that? I'm not certain.
Yeah, Adrian can chime in if he would like, but yeah, it is to inform, we want to improve the emission inventory to look at ambient air quality and to inform SIP planning, or the state implementation planning. But yeah, it is not specifically to look at indoor air quality, although that is a priority for CARB and we are addressing it in other contracts, but not this one, yeah.
Great, thanks for all the questions. These have been great. Please feel welcome to keep them coming. Oh, sorry, I see that we have some things in chat that I've not checked. So how long will a contract be? It is a 36-month contract. And yeah, thanks for answering that. Great, any other questions or feedback? Give you a moment here to think about it. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. It was great talking to you. I appreciate the good questions. Again, this should be released May 12th. So that should go out on the listserv. If you don't see it, feel welcome to reach out to me. I can forward you the listserv notice. So we should then have the page up that time, a recording of this meeting, so we can all relive the good times that we had. Again, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to help answer them. If you have input, even on what you think the contract should do, or anything that came up here, please contact us. Our research email in the chat. That's the best place to send those messages. We check it regularly. And yeah, thank you again so much for being here. So we'll conclude today and let you get on to the rest of your Friday. Thanks, everyone.